right, y'all. Welcome back
to Tennessee Tuesday.
Episode number
6.
For those keeping track in Spanish. Lot going on lately in the Hogue house.
We've been awfully busy.
But
it's good.
It's good. It keeps you on your toes. Keeps you moving, right?
Keeps you young. I guess.
You guess?
I don't know. People say that.
I think it keeps you young. I don't know. You look pretty good for almost 39. Babs has a birthday coming up in the end of this month. Coming up quick.
Next week,
right?
Next Thursday.
Babs is another year older. She's trying to catch me.
I'll never catch you, though.
I know. So
you'll always be 1 year older.
Always. Well, technically 2 years right now, right? Yeah. I'm 40 and you're 38, 2 years older. On paper, at least. Anyways, we had a couple different topics we wanted to talk about. So we had to push one off because we really want to share that one, but we'll come back to that one. So we figured with the recent passing of the Tennessee tax holiday for groceries, with everything going on with inflation and whatnot, we figured it'd be a good one to talk about
the grocery tax.
The grocery tax and the tax holidays that Tennessee has. Now, multiple states have tax holidays, but we were going to focus in on Tennessee's. And it's kind of nice. You're not going to hear goats anymore.
The neighbor got rid of all his goats. It
was so sad. Like, honestly.
I think he cried.
It was so sad. He just couldn't keep up with the hay. Like, honestly, the cost of hay and feeding them all and everything like that, he passed them on to another farm. So you're not going to hear goats, but you may hear dogs.
Or the pig.
You may hear someone brush hogging.
You never know what you're going to get around here. Especially right now, it's summer.
Dude, mowers go all day, every day, into the evening.
They got to keep up on the weeds that grow. So,
keeping up with our tradition, Babs found this tequila, El Padrino. It's a Blanco. Don't know anything about this one.
This will be a first for drinking this.
Yeah, this is something new. Like, we don't know what this one is. Babs was like, let's look at like the little bottle so we don't buy the big one all the time, especially if it's something we don't know or we don't like, that kind of sucks to spend so much money on a big bottle.
But we also don't need 10 million big bottles. I mean, I guess we can use them at Eric's celebration of life. We could celebrate with some tequila.
I mean, I'm always willing to celebrate with tequila. I don't see a problem. But this is El Padrino. This is a Blanco. So it had pretty good, we got it at Total Wine & More.
Total Wine & More.
Has those little, sometimes, I guess it's kind of like a Bevmo, too. They have those little cards where they talk about them and the ratings and stuff, and this one ranked high.
I wish more of the liquor had those because you can read them and see what they're good for.
And it kind of explains the taste, too, a little bit. It's kind of like coffee, right?
I guess you just can Google it, too.
Well, you could, but then you got to sit there in the store and do it. But it's kind of nice if they provide that for you when you're in the shopping experience, So we'll try the El Padrino Blanco. Cheers.
Little burn.
It's not terrible. The Blanco does have that little,
has a little burn for it. I bet it would be good in a margarita.
That might be a good margarita one, not a shooter.
Probably. I feel like it would be better in a margarita.
The Blancos don't rest as long, so now I really feel it. There's a little
burn.
Jet fuel burn.
Might not be the best for shooting.
Babs even wore her tequila shirt today. That was a popular one at the Tacos and Tequila event. If you're going to be salty, bring the tequila. I don't know that I'd bring this one, though.
I would bring that if I was making maybe margaritas.
I mean, it's better than Jose Cuervo.
Anything in a plastic bottle, you're going to have a hangover.
But that's...
Not the best I've had, but not the worst.
Not the best, but it's not the worst either. It's all right. El Padrino. All right. So moving on to tax-free days. This is a favorite. A lot of people like these, and we get a lot of questions of these when these come up. So... I saw the other day, Tennessee has $3.4 billion more in taxes and fees this fiscal year than previously budgeted, which will be allocated to different programs or tax cuts. You really feeling that burn, huh? It's just sitting there. It's sitting there in the back of my throat. So, obviously, they collected way more taxes. We have a surplus. I saw in the news California has like a $90 billion surplus or something from...
Speaking of tax-free holidays, does California do any tax-free holidays?
They do not. Are you serious?
Well, I mean...
They have a $90 billion surplus, and they're not even going to give a break on the gas tax at all.
Well, what do they use all this tax money for? Because they definitely don't use it to fix the roads in California, because those are messed up.
Babs wants to know what California does with their tax revenue.
I mean...
I think a lot of people ask that.
Like, we were at the high school graduation. This is off topic of tax things. But the money that gets allotted for scholarships through the lottery here is insane.
I would love to see the California numbers from the lottery.
Because I guarantee you they don't give anything back to their scholarships like they say they do.
There was millions. So many kids getting these scholarships and stuff all through the lottery. It was fantastic. Mackenzie's one of them.
What was the total number? Do you remember?
I don't want to say what the number was because I'll be way off, but it was in the millions.
It was a lot.
And each child, the scholarship that you get is like $4,000, $2,000 per semester. So Mackenzie's getting that amongst a ton of other kids. Like thousands of kids are getting it.
And still on the topic of school, she can go to a community college for 2 years free if she graduates from a Tennessee high school.
There's so many, and that's where stuff like this, where you're in a surplus on the budget, that's going to go, they're going to allocate to those type of programs, so the kids have that ability.
They should really look into doing that in California because there's a lot of kids that could use the help to go to college.
That's like putting flexi tape on a hole in your boat, okay?
Well, I mean, they say flexi tape will hold that hole. So,
yeah, well, anyways.
Not that I've tried it.
Back to Tennessee. So Bill Lee, wants to, the good old governor of ours, he talks a great game. He posts the right thing online and stuff, gets the likes for the social media crews, but does not stand up and back that all the time. But he has the grocery tax holiday put in place. They voted on it. They passed that. So it's to fight inflation, right? But it doesn't kick in until August.
I mean, that's stupid.
It's May 16th, 17th.
It's not going to help people that truly can't afford the groceries. I mean, in August it will help them, but in the meantime, it's not helping them.
So that's a tough one. There's a good conversation going back and forth on that. So it's estimated that's going to be an $80 million expense to the state, with $49 million in lost grocery taxes and $31 million that the state sends to local governments to cover their portion of the taxes that would not be collected. So they've set aside $82 million for that tax holiday, but hopefully, though it is August, hopefully it will benefit and help the families that desperately need it right now.
It would be great if they would push it up sooner, because there are a lot of families, especially going into summer, when kids are home from school, your grocery bill goes up a lot more because now you're feeding them.
They're eating every day at home.
They're eating all their meals at home. As of right now, they can go to school and get 2 meals a day.
Which you were talking about that earlier. That's expiring.
That's right? Expiring on June 30th, and they say it doesn't look like they're going to pick it back up for the following school year. So you will have to pay for school lunches again.
So they're going to go back up then. And I mean, that was a lifesaver for a lot of families during COVID.
Yeah.
When they could stop and pick up a lunch and then take it home. And it was anyone in the house, really.
Yeah, at that point.
Tina, our friend, Ario Cheese Wagon. I mean, she opened up her cheese wagon and she served grilled cheeses to families. No cost, no questions asked. You want a sandwich, chips, whatever, come on by.
I think they said the school lunch will go up to $3 for lunch a day, and then in the morning it'll be $1.75.
That's a few $100, that's hard on families. And now with your grocery prices going up, I mean, it's the highest it's been in 40 years.
So if you spend like, say, $300 a month, now that summer's coming, it's going to be, probably maybe half of that more.
It's going to go up because the FDA, I saw a thing, they expect an increase of 5 to 6% in 2022. So, I mean, I did a funny reel on Instagram where like I was at Walmart and a watermelon. This was a month ago. The watermelon was like $8 or $9.
It's dropped $1. And
I had comments like in the, and they're like, oh, it's just because it's not the season. Give it a week. It'll go down. It's still $8 no matter where you go.
It hasn't went down.
Aldi, it was $8.
People are like, but watermelons are so good. I'm not spending $8 on a watermelon when that's not going to last that long, when I could spend $8 on something else that I could make a few meals out of.
Chicken or, any type of dinner.
I'm not buying my family a watermelon at $8, no. Especially if I'm on a budget.
But that just shows what people aren't understanding about. They hear the inflation, they hear economy this, economy that, but they don't even just see the basic picture of fertilizer. The cost of fertilizer has skyrocketed, and it's hitting every farmer. So now, like, all of this stuff is happening, as well as the diesel trucks, but it's happening now. So you're not. It's a ripple effect. So you're not going to see it yet. So come fall,
it'll be really
come winter.
Bad.
That's when we're really going to see it, unfortunately.
Well, even like we do garden, but the price of our plants we buy have gone up. But then you got to buy fertilizer to, put in your garden bed to grow your plants. So instead of buying a $4 plant, now it's more like,
and that's just little old us. Like
$8.
We pretend we're farmers and we're nothing close.
We're not green thumbs.
These
here.
are people that are like really producing, a lot of stuff. So, but there are a lot of places that are still doing good, like in Memphis. I know every Monday in June they were saying the YMCA is giving out free 7-day meal packages for kids under 18.
That's awesome.
That's huge. That's so awesome for them to do. So they're distributing them on a first come first serve basis. But a lot of outer things, still are stepping to the plate to support families and kids.
But eventually people are not going to be able to donate to these food banks that people do. Because, food banks run on donations. But when the prices start to go up higher and higher, everyone's not going to be able to donate to the food banks because they still have to put food on their table.
Yep.
So you're going to see it across the board, like Matt was saying, to the food banks, to everything else. Eventually, the supplies are going to run out.
And there's also a halt on motor vehicle registration in Tennessee. So the individual vehicle and motorcycles, they put a halt on the registration fees. And that's going to have like a $120 million impact or something. But, that's kind of nice for people too. But again, it's only like $29 to register a vehicle in Tennessee.
So it's not terribly expensive.
But if you have a couple vehicles, we
have 4.
We have 4. It's $120 right there that goes back to groceries or back to something else at least. So, they are giving breaks where they can.
We had to pay all our registration because they're all due at the beginning of the year.
I think most people are. Wouldn't that be, well, I guess it's whenever you got your vehicle, right?
Exactly.
But, either way, $120 there, the grocery tax, you're going to save a little bit. So, we're grateful for it, but, is that going to be enough to help people out and get them across the line,
I don't think it will. We saw how many people lost homes or couldn't pay rent when the virus was around. Now that everything is going up, people are not going to be able to pay rent again because they're going to want to put food on their table, or they have to put gas in their car to go to work.
Gas is another one.
So,
diesel went up to $5.60 here in Tennessee. So I've just been barely taking the truck anywhere. I've actually got our little XR50s, the Honda 50, out because I'm going to start riding that everywhere.
He cannot ride that on the street.
Watch me. I will.
You can ride that. You could drive the Ranger on the street. It's got a license plate.
I'm going to ride my little XR50.
What, with your backpack on?
Yeah, why not?
You are not really good on a motorcycle, so I would stick to something with 4 wheels. Maybe put some training wheels on it. We got training wheels.
Let's quit getting off topic, Babs. Back to the tax.
All right. We do have 3 different tax holidays. The first is back to school. The back to school shopping weekend, of course, the last week of July each year. So for 2022, is the Friday, July 29th through Sunday, July 31st.
That's a good one. The back to school one's a big one.
We found out about that when we moved here, and we bought so much stuff for the kids on the tax-free holiday weekend.
So what that tax holiday is for the school one, so first it covers your clothing, school supplies, and computers, which is fantastic. Clothing's a big one for people. You know, if you're buying back to school clothes, everyone likes to look fresh and have that brand new outfit, you know. So you can get, it applies to any item as long as it's under $100, any one item. So so unfortunately you can't go get Gucci.
There's no limit. You can't go get Lulu.
No.
It's got to be like under $100. And there's a lot of places you can shop at to buy nice
Lulu
clothes.
Has leggings under $100.
Yeah, so if you get them on sale.
You know. It does not include jewelry, handbags, sports, or recreation equipment. And again, it's one item. I guess a couple people have tried to split up like a pair of shoes that cost over $100 and pay for them separately.
So you pay for one shoe and then one shoe?
Which I couldn't even imagine walking up to a register and saying that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Can I buy these shoes separately? They're no.
It doesn't surprise me that someone would ask that, honestly.
I mean, nowadays I could totally see it.
And then again, so the same thing applies to school items, $100, under $100. So that's binders, backpacks, paper, pens, pencils, ruler, clay, art supply, drawing pads, you name
lunch
it.
Boxes, anything that you can think of that your child may need for school, you can purchase on tax-free holiday.
That's pretty cool. Like you're getting that's a good break, I think, for families.
Exactly.
And computers is a big one too, as long as it's under $1,500, and that does apply to tablets and laptops as well. So if you're, the family needs a new computer, or you've been looking to get your kid a computer, and you can get like a deal, like Apple, Costco has deals on apples.
They do, and you can get them under $1,500.
You can get them for $1,000 or something, and if that's going to save you $100 on taxes, that's huge.
The nice thing though back here are a lot of schools do offer them computers to work with. So if we didn't have a computer for Taylor, she gets one from school. She could do all her schoolwork on that.
Yeah, they are issued the laptops, so but it does help, and it doesn't apply to, see, this is where I thought I was going to swoop in. Doesn't apply to like external hard drives, SD cards, printer supplies,
household appliances,
stuff like that. Like I was like, oh, like camera gear, like SD card, like maybe. No.
He always needs SD cards and hard drives.
Doesn't apply to me.
Not this time.
Not this time.
The next is U.S. tax-free food. This will include any prepared food. So going out to dinner at a restaurant, food trucks, catering, grocery stores. Alcohol is not included on this.
So that's a cool one, because that's like kind of, especially last year for small business support, going out and eating at restaurants was huge. Especially
here where we live in Maryville, there are a lot of small mom and pop restaurants. So if you can go out and support them, that does them so much help.
And that applies to grocery stores. So when you're going to get your groceries, you're saving on the tax. Again, there's going to be the holiday in August, but it's kind of like you're getting two. So it's kind of cool that, catering and food trucks it applies to as well. So it's a break for Tina and them. If we had the coffee trailer out, it would be a break. But again, alcohol is not included, so we can't stock up on tequila.
No, I guess we'll just have to buy it and pay the tax.
Now we have a leaf blower.
I mean, it would be kind of cool if they did a alcohol tax-free.
Man, that
might be a bad thing, actually.
I think they gave alcohol enough because liquor stores got to stay open during the pandemic because they were essential. So,
I mean, I don't know how that was even possible, because liquor stores are not essential. People do not need to drink.
You can get your alcohol, but you can't go to your AA meeting. Nope.
And you can't go to the gym to stay healthy.
Nope. So that's another one that's coming up. So these are all on different weekends. The third one has been going for the past year now. So I don't know what's going to happen with it. I imagine with everything going on, it might be extended. But it's a gun safe and firearm safety equipment tax holiday. So this one started July 1st of last year, and it's going through June 30th of this year. So you got until the end of next month to do it. But it applies to gun safes, trigger locks, cases, stuff like that. Firearms are big in conversation right now, almost everywhere you look.
But gun safety is also a big thing too.
Oh, gun safety is, because that's where it starts in your home, is making sure your guns are locked up, right? And
if you're going to own guns, I think you should probably do a gun safety class with everyone in the family if they're age appropriate.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. I mean, our girls took gun safety class, so they do know how to use a gun if they had to.
It's a freedom, but you should still be responsible with your freedom, So, yes, like she said, you should take a safety class. Like, the whole family should take the safety class if you have a gun in your household.
Just so everyone knows how to use it and operate it, and just...
Even if it's just understanding the basics of firearm safety, like the first rule is keep your finger off the trigger. Point the gun in a safe direction.
Yep.
Like, even if it's just those basic steps, that could prevent a lot,
Prevent from them shooting themselves or
accidentally discharging it somewhere else,
Yeah.
So, but it's funny you mentioned, California earlier. A couple of the other states that I did see that had tax-free holidays was like Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, South Carolina. There's plenty more. But Texas stood out a little bit because they do have an awesome one that's for emergency preparedness. So this tax-free applies to generators, ladders, flashlights, first aid kits, ice chests, like anything you would need in like an emergency if things were to hit the fan. You can save on that.
I feel like any state that has like
weather,
severe weather should have that tax.
Yeah.
Because even living where we do, we use our generator more often than not.
And if you could get it, if you want to put a Generac or something on the whole house, that's a big savings right there.
Towards Nashville would definitely benefit from that because they get more weather. They get more severe weather than we do.
But I thought that was cool. That was a huge one for Texas.
That is pretty awesome that Texas does that.
So anyways, that is it. That is the tax-free holiday rundown, plus a little bit of chatter about the grocery tax thing. So hopefully that lays it all out. If you had any questions on it, if you still have questions, you can use Google.
Google is a great way to figure out information.
Or you could drop us a comment or ask us a question. We'll try to help you out as best we can. But once again, we appreciate having y'all here.
Have a wonderful Tuesday evening.
Give this a like, a share, a follow. Send it to somebody that might be able to use it. Leave us a review if you haven't left us a review, so that way it bumps us up and we can...
And if you have anything you would like us to talk about, leave a comment.
We appreciate y'all. Enjoy the rest of your week. That's it from East Tennessee.
Have a good night.